Welcome to Harlots of Spooktalk. I am your host, LD Pteloma. Today's episode takes a chilling turn as Karli and I delve into the eerie world of cursed and haunted objects. Those seemingly innocent dolls, mirrors, and antiques that carry sinister legends and dark histories. Prepare yourself for a journey through all shadows, where each object tells a story steeped in mystery and dread. From dolls that blink when no one's watching, to mirrors that reflect more than just your image. We'll explore the spine tingling tales that haunt their owners for generations. This episode promises to be both fun and spooky, blending the thrill of the unknown with the allure of the macabre. As always, we encourage you to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. We love hearing your ghostly encounters, so don't hesitate to send your stories to harlotsofspooktalk@gmail.com. For those who crave more ghostly tales like just ghost stories, check out our sister podcast on YouTube and Spotify, Host-Ghost Stories, capital H, lowercase o, uppercase st, Ghost Stories. Now, let's dive into the world of the haunted and the cursed. Get ready for a frightful ride.
Oh, is that you got away?
What is the difference between haunted or cursed? While haunted items are occupied by the spirit itself, cursed items are like a direct result of that curse. You know what I mean? So like curse is something that's affected by it. Whether it's an item or a location that has been intentionally placed under a spell or a hex designed to bring bad luck, misfortune, or harm to whoever is interacted with it, versus, haunted. It's are just occupied by the spirit. It wasn't intentional. They're just there. I guess that's how I would explain it so I could understand it. But if that doesn't make sense, just let us know. But yeah, so a lot of like items can carry strong energy. Sometimes you can just touch a thing and you're like, man, this has a lot of energy to it. Like I feel heavy, or I feel like, I don't know, there's just something about this item. Like I had a friend that had a ring, sometimes when we touch things in history, especially, like they've had a lot of people touching them, holding them, like whether they're like, maybe they're holding it and they're feeling lost or hurt, and that energy goes onto that object. So you got to be careful when you're touching objects that you don't know about. It's like same thing with like thrifted or antique items. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they can give people the creeps, but it really just depends on the item. Like I said, y'all know that I have dolls. Those have energies on them. Now, I don't think they're necessarily haunted, but they do have personality. But they've had people touching them. I have one that's been crayoned on it, so a child got to it. So sometimes dolls come into my house and they're gifted to me a lot of times because I just enjoy them. They're pretty, and though you have to sage them, they have energy on them. Sometimes it can be scary, and sometimes you're like, oh, this feels really nice, and I get a good vibe from it. I guess that's the more word that we say today. It's like, it's such a vibe. That's kind of what I just really wanted to touch on with that. Now, we all know the story of Annabelle. We have the Annabelle Well, should I even get into that? Because honestly, we have touched so much on it. Latest, like the the thing about Annabelle is someone she was intentionally put in there. Same with Robert. I've been getting the creeps just talking about it. To be honest with you, it's so weird not having the host right here with me doing this. But, um, like the Okukyu doll, Okikyu doll, sorry, from Japan that has growing hair. That can be really terrifying. I mean, but I do have a question for you. Would you visit the Robert doll and take a selfie with him? Because apparently, anybody that goes like touches that box or whatever, bad things happen to them. Like whether they just get ill. So I don't know. Like I've been really like I kind of want to go see the Annabelle doll. Like I don't want to open it or anything or touch it, but I am slowly getting curious to go see
Oh
it in person.
my god.
Um, but yeah.
Welcome back to Harlots of Spooktalk. I'm your host, Karli. Today we're going to be doing cursed objects. And I'm going to be talking the first part about the Crying Boy. The Crying Boy is a mass-produced print of a painting by an Italian painter. From 1911 to 1981, this was the pen name of the painter, Bruno. It was widely distributed from the 1950s and onwards. There are numerous alternative versions, all portrait of tearful young boys or girls. In addition to be widely known, certain urban legends came out about this cursed painting. On September 5th, 1985, the British tabloid newspaper The Sun reported that ex-firefighter claimed the undamaged copies of the paintings were frequently found amidst the ruins of burnt houses. By the end of November, belief in the painting's curse was widespread enough that The Sun was organizing mass bonfires of the paintings. Steve Bunt, a British writer and comedian, investigated the curse in an episode of BBC Radio production called Punt By, first aired on 9th October 2010. The conclusion reached by the program followed testing the building's research establishments is that the prints were treated with varnish containing fire retardant, and that the string holding the paintings to the wall would be the first part to disintegrate, resulting in the painting laying face down on the floor and being undamaged by the fire. They're saying the fire couldn't get to the painting itself. That's how the urban legend came about this painting. David Clark, investigative journalist, says that the stories naming the child as Don or Diablo did not emerge until the 2000, the book written by Tom Selman. They related the child to several fires, including the painter's studio. However, he says there is absolutely no truth whatsoever to any of it that they could find. But that does not stop this urban legend about the Crying Boy painting. So, you need to just look the Crying Boy painting up. You will be amused to how this painting really will make you feel. And that is all for this first part of Cursed Objects.
So, have you heard the legend of the Myrtle Plantation mirror? That is also said to trap spirits in mirrors. Like, think about it. Have you ever looked into a mirror at night and felt like someone was looking back at you? Bro, like, why am I recording this in the dark? Dumb. But yeah, we have so many stories, and like, we've shared a lot of that, like, on the host ghost stories where people like played Bloody Mary and seen things that they probably shouldn't have seen. Um, there's also like this new term, scry mirrors. I'm still learning about them, but those are used in rituals and divination. I believe Karli had kind of spoke about this like on our last live for Campfire Chronicles. They sometimes people use dark mirrors, like they do use them in magic, and they're not always supposed to be scary, from my understanding. Um, but they're used for good things, so you can see the positive and imagine good things. I'm not like super good at the topic, but I'm learning. Um, so now there has been some haunted antique mirrors that were sold online. Those were stories from buyers who swear they see things like So can you imagine, like, you're a thrifter, say like me, I'm a thrifter. You go to a store, you buy a mirror, and you're like, boom. It's why is somebody looking back at me? Those are the kind of stories, like, when I first started doing readings for others, like, it was taught to me at that time that mirrors were so bad. And so sometimes they could just bring in unwanted spirits and you'd have to cover them. Like, if it's a portal, you got to put a cover over and be done with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's wild, but they're not all like that.
Another cursed object we're going to briefly touch on is James Dean's Porsche. It is said to be cursed. It refers to a series of accidents and misfortunes attributed to his Porsche, a 550 Spider nicknamed Little Bastard. After he died in a crash in 1955, the cursed legend grew after British actor Alec warned Dean the car was sinister, but the myth intensified when parts from the car, such as the engine suspension, were sold to other racers who were involved in fatal collisions or accidents themselves, and even the vehicle's remains were involved in a fatal accident while being transported. A week before Dean's fatal crash, he met Alex, who found the Porsche sinister and warned Dean, "If you get in this car, you will be found dead in it by this time next week." James Dean died September 30th, 1955, when his Porsche, the 550 Spider, collided with another car. The fate of the car and the parts. Let's go over that one. George Burris and the Roadshow. After the accident, the Rex was purchased by custom car designer George Burris. He used a heavily damaged car in National Road Safety Tour from 1957 to 1959. Mystery accidents and incidents. While being displayed as part of a safety tour, the car garage missile caught fire. Later, while being transported, the car fell off a trailer, killing the truck driver. The engine and other components were sold off. The engine was installed in another racer's car, leading to his fatal collision. Other parts, such as the suspension and transmission, were used in another race, resulting in a crash that killed the driver. The missing parts. The transaxle, key part of the engine, was sold multiple times before being purchased by Zach Bagans, owner of the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. The rest of the chassis were deemed too damaged and was likely scrapped. There are some believe parts of the shell were fabricated to keep the story alive. The cursed transaxle is now an exhibit at the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, owned by Zach Bagans. Some historians and car experts believe the curse was a myth, extravagated by Barris and others to capitalize on the tragic events surrounding the car and the death of James Dean. But I'll let you decide, fact or myth. But either way, it's kind of creepy.
Of course, as I'm recording this, there's like scratching going around, so I'm turning on the lights, okay? Don't judge me. So let's talk about like cursed and antique oddities, whatever you call them. So the jukebox box is a wine cabinet said to release evil spirits. And that's actually, if you haven't seen the movie The Possession, I highly recommend you definitely, because it kind of goes into more details on that. There's also the Busby Stoop chair in England. It says, "Death comes to those who sit on it." I'm actually curious, would you sit in a chair like that? Okay, so there might be, I guess if you wanted to go, if like you're like, whatever. I mean, what happens to those people that's like, is it like a depression thing or is it like an illness thing? I mean, because it could always go back to like Robert the Doll and it's like an illness thing. That's crazy. So what if like you get cursed if you sit in it? Yeah. So have you ever like found if you are a thrifter like me, have you ever found an object you thought that might be haunted? Well, there was this one story, and it happened about a couple months for me. I like to go thrifting at least once a month because I like to spend money. Anyways, so the dolls, I collect them, and in this particular one here in Missouri, there was like a bunch of them in the store, right? There, in the back of the store, was like a whole handful of them, like stuffed in the bag. And when I tell you my big ass had to like move boxes just to get to them to see them, I had to like literally take a picture and zoom in. They were like pretty expensive dolls too. They were like 20, 25, like 30, 40, which, you're thinking, oh, that's not that bad. Well, when you thrift shopping for dolls, that's pretty expensive for a doll. You know what I'm saying? So I just left him alone. And so I kept walking. There's like about 5 long aisles in this place. I got some good books from like the 1800s. Um, there was one particular one. See, even when I'm talking about it, like it was a redhead doll, and I was like, oh, she's so pretty. And I was looking at her, and there was something kind of off. Like I was like, she was only $5, and I'm thinking, ooh, $5. Now we're talking my language. I get closer to her, y'all. Her clothes have a stain, and I go to touch it. I'm like, maybe it's just the stain. So I'm like, okay, let me kind of touch it. Like, let me see. Just kind of, as soon as I touched even like the skirt, I had a headache, and I was like, okay, you're not coming home with me. Sorry, can't do it. But that's like, that's the thing with like thrifting. You find all these things. Like, if it doesn't feel right, don't take it home. Period. Um, so but for you as a listener, would you risk bringing a haunted antique into your home if it was meant to be a good deal?
The next story is the Hope Diamond, the Curse, and the Mystery. The Hope Diamond is by far one of the most notorious diamonds of all time, shrouded in mystery with legends as it manufactured as a diamond itself. Also known as a king's jewel, also known as France's blue, the Hope Diamond is a deep blue color and weighs 45 carats. As beautiful as it is, you probably wouldn't want to wear it or even own it, as it's supposedly cursed. Since its discovery in India in 1642, the infamous diamond was stolen at least twice in its long history, and has changed hands several times, leaving a trail of unfortunate fate and supposedly bad luck for almost every owner of this diamond. Here are some of the stories and legends that go with the Hope Diamond itself. 1666. The story goes the curse began with the Tavern Blue, which was the predecessor to several large diamonds, including the Hope Diamond itself. John Baptiste, a 17th century French merchant who traded gems, allegedly stole the 115.16 carat blue diamond from a Hindu statue, where it was serving as one of its eyes. Upon discovering it was missing, the priest put a curse on whoever was possession of this gem. It is said the tavern came down with a raging fever soon after stealing the diamond, and when soon he would pass away. However, others reported showed that he lived until the ripe old age of 84. In 1668, King Louis himself. The Hope Diamond recut to 69 carats in 1673. King Louis purchased the diamond from Tavern and had it recut to 69 carats. In 1673, it was known as the Blue Diamond of the Crown, or the French Blue. King Louis had gangrene and passed away. Some people believe that Nicholas was the real man in the Iron Mask. He worked for King Louis and is said to have worn the diamond for special occasions. Shortly after this, he fell out of favor with the king and was banished from France, and then sentenced to life imprisonment. Spent 15 years in the fortress. The 1700s, Louis and Marie Antoinette. Upon King Louis's death, his spouse, Marie Antoinette, inherited the French blue diamond. Louis was Galantine during the France's turbulent political era, and his wife met the same fate 9 months later. Some say their death was the result of the Hope Diamond curse. The 1700s, Marie Princess D, I can't say the last name, so I'm going to spell it Lamballe. Marie Louise, Princess de Lamballe, was a member of Marie Antoinette's court and was her closest confidant. She was a temporary wearer of the supposedly cursed diamond and died soon after wearing it. In 1791, Falls. The diamond was stolen during the French Revolution and recut. Falls was a Dutch jeweler who was responsible for cutting the 115-carat diamond to the 45-carat blue Hope diamond we see today. After it was cut, he suffered ill fate when his son allegedly stole the diamond, murdered his father, and then took his own life. The diamond's whereabouts were not known for many years. It reappeared in the catalog of a gem collection owned by London Bacon family called Hope in 1839. The 1900s. Simon was a Greek merchant who owned the diamond and resold it in 1910 to Pierre. He drove his car over a cliff. In 1912, Evelyn Wash McLean. Evelyn Wash McLean was a rich heiress who bought the Hope Diamond from Pierre Carter in 1912. There are stories that even afflicts the diamonds to her dog Collar. Her ill fate began when her mother-in-law died. Her son died at the age of 9. Her husband left her for another woman and later died in a psychiatric hospital. Her daughter died of a drug overdose, and Evelyn eventually had to sell her newspaper, the Washington Post. She died owing huge debts. Evelyn's surviving children sold the diamond to a famous jeweler in 1949. In 1958, the jeweler donated the 45-carat diamond to the Smithsonian Institute, sending it through the U.S. mail for only $2.44 in postage, and with only $155 in insurance. In 1958, James Todd, the Hope Diamond, presented to the Smithsonian. Whilst no harm seemed to come to the famous jeweler, the man who delivered the diamond to the Smithsonian apparently had an truck accident shortly thereafter. He also suffered a head injury in a separate accident. To add to the list of bad luck, his house burned down. Where's the Hope Diamond today? Hope Diamond set into a pendant now. The Hope Diamond, now valued $250 million, is housed in the National Gem and Mineral Collection at the National Museum in Natural History in Washington, D.C. It's the most visited expedition at the Smithsonian and remains one of the most notorious diamonds of all time. So that is a story of the Hope Diamond and all that wore it, owned it, and came in touch with it. The last one I'm going to do for this cursed objects is the death chair. The Busby stoop chair, or the dead man's chair, is an oak chair that was supposedly cursed by the murderer Thomas Bugsby before his execution and hanging in 1702 in North Yorkshire in the United Kingdom. The chair is said to have remained in use for centuries at the Busby Stoop Inn near Thirsk. Don't come for me if I said that wrong. Due to the many deaths later attributed to people sitting in the chair, the landlord donated it to the museum in 1978. Now, a furniture historian has came in and examined the chair and found it had machine-turned spindles, where 18th century chairs were made using a different technique. He dated the chair to 1840, so 130 years after the Bugsby execution. But locals claim that during the Second World War, Canadian airmen from the nearby base, a Skipton O'Swall, went to the pub, and those who sat in the chair never returned from bombing missions over mainland Europe. In the 1970s, some fatal accidents were linked to the chair, too. In 1978, the chair was ultimately hung from the ceiling of the museum to prevent anybody from sitting in it, even maintenance from touching it. So we don't really know where this chair, like, we know where it came from, but we don't know why it might be cursed. But it seems like it is cursed. We just gave it a name. In the Japanese web Comic-Con, Axis Powers Bugsby chair is depicted as an artifact which kills anyone who sits in it, which causes them to drag straight down to hell itself. Bugsby's chair was also mentioned in an episode of the television program Unsolved Mysteries, and a similar story about a cursed chair was included in an episode of Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. So even though we don't know too much about this chair, we do know a little more about Bugsby himself. His background was Tom Z. Bugsby was arrested and tried and condemned to death after he offed his father-in-law, Daniel, in 1702. Otti and Busby were running a coin counterfeiting business as well as other criminal enterprises, and they argued about the business, which ended with the Busby killing that Artie. One variation of the story has Bugsby's cursed chair whisked on his way to execution, where others say that he was drunk in the chair when he was arrested, and he cursed it then. Besides an inn, which later had his name changed to the Bugsby Stoop Inn, the site of the execution, opposite of the pub, on the A61 A167 crossroads, now a roundabout, was said to be haunted by Bugsy Ghost himself. So is this chair haunted or cursed? We do not know. All we know is whoever sat in that chair seemed to have ill fate that came from that chair. So like always, blessed be. I would say stay cursed, but that's kind of mean. How about stay haunted? and look for the unexplained everywhere you go. Love you guys.
And that's it for tonight's Cursed and Haunted Objects. Dolls, mirrors, antiques, maybe just stories, or maybe something darker. Next time you're thrifting, take a second before you bring something home. Thanks for listening to Harlots of Spooktalk. Stay spooky and watch out for what's watching you.
We rise not by blood alone, but by the trials we've endured. The code we live by is carved in the scars of battle, etched deep in the digital storm. Through the gates of endless flame, where the trolls all seek to maim. Standing tall we bear our shields, cause in Valhalla we never yield. Their arrows fall like endless rain. We walk through the storm of pain, but juggalos we never bend. The fight for truth will never end. Warriors online, we ride hand in hand, side by side. No algorithm can define the spirit of those who won't divide. Valhalla's code in every blow. Through the screens the truth will show. We fight, we rise, our battle cry. In Valhalla's halls we'll never die. Behind their faceless masks, thinking that they own the past. But our axes swing with justice clear as we cut through lies and fear. No throne awaits the coward's reign, no victory for those with shame. For those who stand in Valhalla's grace are those who fought to claim their place. Blood runs through the wires like rivers to the sea. Their lies, their hate can't drown what's free. The code is not in numbers, but in the hearts we hold. This jug of Viking bond stronger than gold. Valhalla's code, our guide, our light. Through endless darkness we still fight. No coward's throne, no troll's crown. In the halls we hold. This jug of Viking bond stronger than gold. Valhalla's code, our guide, our light. Through endless darkness we still fight. No coward's throne, no troll's crown. In the halls we hold, in the halls we'll never die. They hide behind their faceless wrong. United in battle, we'll carry on. For Valhalla calls, and we answer the roar. The jug of Vikings rise forevermore.